My name is Rebecca, if you haven't been to visit me before, and my channel is called Created with These Old Hands. I've been embroidering for more than 70 years, and I have a heart for newbies, people who are just learning. And so I decided I'm going to make a series of beginner embroidery lessons, tutorials, step by step, very much step by step. And so I will turn the camera down to my hands and we'll get started. Okay, I think I'm ready. I just want to show you the supplies you need at the beginning. Certainly you don't need a lot of extra supplies as a beginner. You will need a hoop of whatever size, and do wrap the inner hoop. It helps to keep the fabric tight. You can check out my previous video in which I explain how and why to do that. We're going to use a variety of colors today just because we're going to learn 11 or 12 stitches, and they aren't really exciting stitches. They're very basic, have to know workhorse of the stitching of the embroidery. And so I thought it would be fun to just do it in a variety of colors to keep it a little bit happy and cheerful and fun to do and to look at afterwards. Obviously a good pair of scissors. These are very inexpensive just for cutting whatever. These are good ones that cut right down to the tip. For getting in the little nooks and crannies, you'll need a couple of needles. If you have trouble threading your needles, a size 10, 9, something like that. I think this is maybe even an 8. The higher the number, the smaller the eye. And there's also Milner's needles and a whole lot of different kinds. I do have a needle threader here, not that I plan to use it, but it also cuts. There's a little razor blade in the end, which is handy. If you look at this, see how this has got lots of little kinks in it? It's because it comes off of one of those little cardboard bobbins, which I don't like. I really don't like them for this reason, that they make it more of a tendency to want to curl. Most people do put their floss on a bobbin, and I prefer to leave it in the skein. And then I just put my skeins in light colors in Ziploc bags. It's cheaper and easier and less of a knot problem. Obviously a piece of fabric. Now my fabric came from thrift store. It was a sheet, and I did not realize that there are lines in a sheet which might sort of add to it. I buy pillowcases, sheets, preferably cotton, napkins, placemats, anything from the thrift store for a tenth of the price of what you would pay for it in a regular store. Just throw it in the washing machine and then iron it. And also today, because we're going to make our own pattern, this is a water-soluble fabric. I don't really like them, these ones, because they tend to disappear when you're not ready. Ready or not, they disappear, and you just use the other end to sort of wipe them out or run them under the water. Yeah, and I'm running out of solution. This one is a Friction pen, which is heat soluble. A lot of really, really experienced, very good embroiderers do not like the Friction pen because it uses a chemical, and you either iron it off or use a hairdryer to get it off afterwards. But it does leave a ghost print, and if you're doing something precious that's going to last for 50 years and you don't want to have chemicals on your fabric, you don't want this. I don't buy pre-made patterns. I make my own, and I can't live without this. So that's what I'm teaching you to do. They can yell at me later. So for our pattern today, I thought we would do a sampler, but a little bit more interesting than a regular sampler. So I have drawn a heart. Okay. This is all my pre-whatever. So basically just take a piece of paper, fold it in half, draw a heart, and then when you fold it in half, you only cut out one side and then both sides are the same. The reason it has a circle around it is that I want to make sure that I have enough fabric to fit on, to hold in my hoop. So this is going to be the hoop I use. I made sure the heart's smaller than the hoop, but I used a bigger hoop to make sure I have enough fabric to stay in this hoop. So you're going to cut out, you're going to draw and cut out a heart, and then you can use a pencil, but a pencil you have to make sure you cover up if you don't have one of these. So you're going to draw this onto your, so I ironed a line down the middle to make sure that I would not mess up on you. I have my drawn heart and I have an inner heart that I have cut out. So I'm going to draw my inner heart on my fabric, line up the fold in the paper with the fold on the fabric, and then I'll draw my outer heart. It's approximately right. I'm going to use a ruler to make lines within my heart, because I want to be able to tell you need to be able to know which stitch is which, and I wanted to make sure that everything would fit. So I will complete my drawing and put you on pause so I don't waste your time. Hold on. I will be putting a PDF that you can print off that has your names of the stitches rather than trying to write it on your sampler. And this is the sampler that I have drawn. We can turn this into a pincushion, we can turn it into a pillow, or you can just put it in your library. So you put the padded one underneath. You make sure that this is not touching anywhere around here. And press down. Now I'm very close here, don't like that. Move it over a smidge. Okay, so now that it's in, you tighten this down. Some of the better ones have, it does have a place where I can use a screwdriver. And then you pull it tightly. Now, if you're going to not use it for a pillow or something like that, you can cut off this excess, because that can get in the way for sure. I tend to roll it up like that and just clip it out of the way. But you can certainly cut yours off. As a beginner, the less chance of making a mess, I guess, the better. So let's do that. We'll just, you got to leave enough to pull it tight again if necessary. If it starts to be a little less tight than you want, you need to leave your corners to be able to pull them. So if I need to, I can cut these off as well. So the very first stitch that you want to, well, first of all, we'll start, I think, at the top. Top is chain stitch. Oops. The top is chain stitch on one side and back stitch on the other side. So let's just start off with the chain stitch on one side. So I have a double length, so I'm going from the tip of my nose to as far as my arm will reach, which is at more than twice as long as what most people recommend. I'm a rebel, what can I say? So put that back out of the way. And this one, we are going to separate. It's cotton with 6 strands, and we're going to take 1 strand out. I like to embroider with 2 strands, basically, most of the time. So I'm just going to keep pulling on this, and it will pull a single strand out. And then this gets threaded on your needle. You match up the cut ends. So now it's a more reasonable length to work with. You just hold this in one hand, 1, 2, 3, pinch it and pull through. You have a nice tight little knot at the bottom, and we will start from underneath. So pull it through, and then I'm going to go back down right next to it, and I'm going to hold on to this, and I'm going to loop through the hole, which makes a very small flat knot. I will cut the excess off in a minute, but right now, okay, right now, so see how I caught the thread? That's not what I want. I want to go through the loop. So now that's won't come undone. The knot won't come undone. I'll cut off the excess later. So I'm ready to start. So for a chain stitch, you basically come up from the bottom. I put it under my thumb. I go back the same, approximately, as close as I can to the same space. And I do not make my chain stitches big. I make them 1/8 of an inch maybe. So I'm leaving this, as I pull this up, it's gonna go around my thumb so it can't pull through. And then you want this open and you want to come up through that loop. And the direction that I am embroidering is the direction I put tension on. So I'm going that way. I'm going to pull from that way until it just snugs down. If you, okay, so I'll pull it too tight on purpose. If you pull it too tight, it gets very flat and you lose the loop that you want in your chain stitch. So let me loosen it up again. And now we're going to, if I pull all the way through, I would lose it, but I'm again gonna loop it around my thumb. I'm going back through the same chain. I'm going back through the same loop and up 1/8 of an inch down the line, loop it, come through the loop, and gently, this time I'll do it right, gently pull in the direction that you want your chain to go, okay? Hold that with your thumb, go down through the same loop and up. We're at the end of the row, so we're going to finish it off. So we go down as if we were making the same chain, but when we come up this time, we're going to pull it all the way tight, and then we're going to go down on the outside. And that's called the chain stitch. It's kind of a texture to some degree. The second one we're going to do is the back stitch, and I'm going to just go across, slide underneath here. I'm going to use the same color to do the one on this side. The back stitch is the first half of it, so I'm going to just come up and basically you just stay ahead of yourself. So pull from underneath, and then you go further away and come back towards your last stitch. Make sure that you aim carefully at the line to stay on the line, because it does show up. Don't make them too big. Well, make them however you want to, I guess, can't you? I like them to be, these are actually quite large for this, because of the timing of the video. I'm doing them possibly larger than I would normally. Just keep coming back towards yourself. Gee, I wonder if that's why they call it the back stitch. Duh. So does not take long to do at all. We're going to do something else to this stitch. So I'm going to put this on pause, and I'm going to do the back stitch all the way across here as well, because I've shown you how to do it, and we'll just save a little bit of your watching time. The next one's called the running stitch, and for this one you basically put your finger on the back, start at the, come up to the front, and each time that you go down, get your finger out of the way, go down, and then push up with your finger. It's something that takes practice, definitely, to do this. Quilters do it all the time. But you can do several stitches with one pull, and then run your thread under your thumb as you sew so you don't get knots. That's how you keep from tangling. The other way, obviously, is just to manually, do each stitch up and down. It's a very simple stitch, but I use it as the first part of several other stitches. To finish off the backs, basically you weave it back and forth through some stitches, and if you want to, you can weave it down into a little knot. Just make sure it doesn't knot before you get to the edge. The next one is the stem stitch. So the stem stitch goes forward all of the time, so you come up from the bottom and make a loop, and you hold on to that loop, don't let it close, and you can see where the first stitch ended. You're going to come up just right at where that stitch came up, and you're going to pull up, pull through until it wants to go down, and then close the top. So I'm going to skip past this one, and I'm going to hold on to my loop, and I'm going to come up within that loop at the end of the previous stitch, pull that till it tugs on my thumb, and then makes a nice, neat line. It's great for outlining, for letters and that kind of thing. And we're going to do that all the way across. Next one is called the pistol stitch, which is sort of a combination of a French knot with a tail, I suppose. So do check and make sure that you are unraveled, because it's time to start growing knots, apparently. So keep some tension. I've got this fairly long, that may be why. So basically, you're going to, I'm just using a double again too. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to aim for a bit of a space rather than the French knot thing. I'm going to point these in opposite directions. I'm going to gently pull the tension onto the thread and hold that down with my thumb while I pull this through. So that's the same way that you make a French knot, but this one is traveling, I suppose you would say. So again, so you would use this for stamens, you can use it for lots of things, but I come up next to it. I'll do another one before I go past you. So 1, 2, if you're using 4 threads instead of 2, you would only go around it twice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to travel. I'm going to go down on the line, I'm going to go down, and once that is in through to the back, Then I will point these in opposite directions, pull until I have tension on the line, and hold that tension on the line while I pull my needle down through. It's called a pistol stitch. I'll see you at the end of the line. The next one on our list is called the fly stitch, which I use a lot to make trees, basically, but you need to have more than one line drawn if you don't want it to be sort of abstract. So now my line is not in the center. We'll just ignore it because it's going to go away. So the fly stitch is a matter of working towards you. So you're going to go up from the bottom, down from the top, and again hold on to your loop. And in the middle, so lower than this one and somewhat in the middle. And when you're doing trees, you don't have to make it even. When you're doing it as a border, you want to have it even, which is why you draw an extra line. Now you're going to just hold that down, and I'm going to go over, let's see. I'm going to go over here. So I'm lower than that, a little bit lower than that. I'm going to switch my thumb to make a loop again. And I'm holding this out of the way with my finger. See how I don't want to go get that tangled. So now I'm going to come up in the middle here and lower down so that it makes like a Y almost. Hold that down, stitch slightly lower. So I'm guiding it with my finger. I'm not quite sure how to explain it. If you find this one just too difficult, just skip over it because it's not really, I guess it's not really, so I'm switching from holding that to holding this. It's not really a beginner stitch, so I don't want to confuse things more. So I'm going lower down to that. I'm going to come up in the middle on this third line. Thanks for coming today. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I certainly did. I hope that you learned something, and I do hope that if you have a question, if there's something that you had trouble with, for example, or if there's something that you wish to learn that I haven't taught, please leave a comment and ask a question, and I will do my very best to answer for you. Have a great day, and thanks for coming by. Bye-bye.